West Ham United, a club that dared to dream of evolution, is now trapped in an alarming freefall. When Julen Lopetegui was appointed, fans were promised a bold new era, a high-octane pressing game, modern tactics, and an identity to replace the conservative nature of David Moyes. But just 11 Premier League games into the season, that optimism has evaporated. Instead of progress, West Ham find themselves in 14th place, struggling for identity and cohesion. The question isn't whether Lopetegui can take the club forward, it's whether he should be given a chance at all. Despite a summer of heavy investments and 9 new signings, the Hammers have a negative 6 goal difference, a confused tactical approach, and a growing discontent between the fans and the manager. With clashes upcoming against Newcastle and Arsenal, Lopetegui's position is under severe scrutiny. So how did West Ham end up here, and can the season still be salvaged? West Ham's summer spending spree was meant to signal intent. 9 players were brought in, ranging from marquee signings to exciting young prospects, but now as we reflect on their impact, the question is clear. Did this overhaul actually address the club's actual needs? The first signing I want to talk about is Max Kilman, £40 million from Wolverhampton Wanderers, the defensive linchpin Lopetegui demanded. Kilman has some good composure on the ball and good aerial dominance that made him a standout player at Wolves. And being the fact that he's worked with Lopetegui before, naturally you thought this was a pretty good signing. But as of right now, he struggled to replicate that form at West Ham, positionally suspect in a high defensive line, and his £40 million price tag is already under scrutiny. A signing I do think West Ham did pretty well with was Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Manchester United for £15 million. He is a very defensively solid fullback, and even right now, despite West Ham's troubles, he's looked defensively solid, although as we know, he does have his limitations going forward, and it has kind of made Lopetegui's system of fluid and progressive passing and play kind of struggle a little bit. Summerville for £25 million from Leeds I thought would be an extraordinary signing. I thought if he gave him enough game time at the right position, I thought he could do really well, and he has proven to have some good electric pace and good creativity, but he's been very inconsistent right now for West Ham. Füllkrug, I don't know what West Ham are really doing. You had someone like Antonio. I don't know why you want to get another brute type of striker. He's really struggled right now with West Ham. Then you have Todibo, and his situation was apparently he was forced from Nice to join West Ham. That's a whole another issue I don't want to get into, but he's just seemed to lack his defensive awareness. I don't know what's happened to Todibo. And then Guilherme at 18 years old is undeniably a huge talent, but expectations were high with such a hefty fee. But he remains a peripheral player for West Ham and isn't getting much game time. But then you want to look at Lopetegui, right? Julen Lopetegui's reputation was built on tactical discipline and pressing intensity, yet his West Ham side has displayed neither. Instead, this team is getting caught between conflicted philosophies, neither defensively resolute nor offensively dynamic. They're not great attacking-wise, they're not great defensively. Despite a revamped backline, defensive disorganization has been a recurring theme. Kilman and Todibo have struggled to adapt to a high defensive line, and Wan-Bissaka offers little in attack. Lapses in communication have led to costly mistakes for this West Ham team. The midfield still doesn't look nearly as promising as you'd hope, and attacking-wise, Füllkrug is struggling. Bowen has been pushed out wide and seems less effective at times. Summerville's inconsistent. Kudus is doing pretty okay, but he lacks discipline. Look at the Tottenham situation. Like, these players and the manager and the tactics, none of them are helping their situation right now. And then off the pitch, tensions are rising. Reports of dressing room discontent are real right now. Tactical confusion and Lopetegui's reluctance to adapt have only added fuel to the fire. Fans are baffled by Lopetegui's team selections, such as benching key players like Bowen, while young talents like Guilherme are underutilized. New signings, instead of being integrated, are deployed out of position or to just little effect in general. And then there is a growing sense of frustration among the squad apparently. Reports suggest players aren't happy with Lopetegui's rigid training methods and his unclear tactical instructions, which has only affected morale and cohesion. With a board reportedly considering replacements already, Lopetegui has little room for error in the coming weeks, and apparently if he doesn't get a win against Newcastle or Arsenal, he could be seen the sack. So what is next for West Ham? West Ham's season hangs in the balance. The next steps will determine whether this campaign is salvaged or spirals into crisis. Lopetegui must simplify his system and focus on defensive organization right now. He must have a pragmatic approach to stop the bleeding, to just buy himself some time. He needs to adjust his tactical situation because you can't be playing such a high line when you keep getting exploited the way you have. And if he even lasts to January, something needs to be done in the midfield and defensively, and maybe you need to start looking to offload some players, even players you got in the summer. And overall, overall, I really don't know if Lopetegui is the man for West Ham. I said it in the beginning. In the summer, when West Ham were making all of these huge signings, I remember saying in one of the videos that the only way this West Ham team doesn't perform well, on paper at least, is if Lopetegui doesn't perform as a manager. I said I wasn't happy with Lopetegui being appointed, and I wasn't happy with how Lopetegui showed himself out in Real Madrid and for Wolves, and also for Sevilla. He was pretty good, but he was kind of inconsistent. I wasn't happy with Lopetegui as a manager. I wasn't convinced by him, and right now it's proven true. West Ham entered the seasons with high hopes, but Lopetegui's tenure has so far delivered only frustration and confusion. Fans wanted evolution, but are instead witnessing stagnation despite the heavy investments. The next few months will definitely define the season and perhaps the club's long-term direction. Will Lopetegui turn it around, or is a reset already looming on the horizon? One thing is clear though, the West Ham fans deserve better. Whether under Lopetegui or under a new manager, the mission remains unchanged. Restore pride, restore identity, and get results to this football club. The question is, who will lead them there?